current events because shit is without giving it away.
I don't know if you can.
I don't know if I can either, but it had something to do with Epstein's connections and the abilities that afforded him even at his lowest moments. That's a pretty good way of putting it, right?
Yeah, and I can say that you called me afterwards, and I know when you're being very genuine about something, and you were like,
my world has been turned upside down. Hey guys, 3 quick things. Number 1, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It's a huge help. Number 2, if you'd like to join my Patreon for early uncensored releases of the full episodes, you can join via the link in my description or the pinned comment below. And number 3, if you'd like to join my clipping community for a chance to make content from the show and make money, you can join via the Discord link in my description below. Like, we got in there and we talked on camera about the case in general for like over an hour, of which they're going to use like 3 minutes of that. It was a great conversation. But then he laid on me what we were there to investigate, because when he asked me to do this 2 months ago, he's like, I want to do it like you do your podcast. I'm not going to tell you what specifically I'm investigating around Epstein, but let's just get in there and do it. So he lays on me what we're going to be investigating, and I was like, okay, cool. And then he did something and showed me a bunch of things, including a lot of government documents, and then began to demonstrate certain things related to those. And very slowly I went from very back and forth talkative with him to genuinely shell-shocked and quiet. And towards the end, it was like a crisis of, I mean, it was like almost like, as it relates to the case itself, like existential. Like, what the fuck? Like, if this is the case, then nothing. So, as I said, I gotta blue balls you a little bit, but you're gonna want to see that when it comes out. It's certainly interesting. So, I think it was a cool experience. We're gonna watch to see how the certain TV network cuts it up, but I want to make sure that's done right, because we filmed for fucking 7 hours.
That's lame.
You know?
They should do something with the, like, if you do an hour recording, even if they don't put it on the TV program, they should like put it on the YouTube, or like do something with it.
I think Andy, I can't confirm this fully, but just based on some stuff he was saying, I think Andy's probably talking to them about that.
Yeah.
Because he's got a big YouTube too.
Yeah.
And that would also be great for transparency, by the way, which is something, you know, Andy could definitely use some help in that department.
Yeah, instills trust into legacy institutions.
Well, I don't think anyone's ever going to trust Andy.
But you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
Even them doing that, you're like, oh, okay, I'll trust you guys a bit.
Yes.
Transparency.
Yes. So that is going to be very interesting. But this week, or I'm putting out this episode on Saturday. This week on Monday or Tuesday, you are going to see the first half of the Epstein Survivor sit down. I know you guys have been patient about that. It is coming now. I've had so many literally current of the moment event podcasts coming in that like I've had to get these things out.
I'll be right back. Be right back. Sorry I had to go so long. Let's see.
Fits various hose screw sizes. Hose screws under sink.
Today, I am joined by my good friend, Molly Jong Fast. Molly, I have some great news. Kylie put up this poll.
Yes.
This is a Washington Post poll put on Fox News.
Yeah.
Trump's approval rating at 34%. Fox News put that on their screen. Fox Business, of course.
Yeah.
Molly.
Yeah. Fox Business is, that's the home of Lou Dobbs, the man who makes Sean Hannity look like
Turn left,
nonpartisan.
then turn left.
And I mean that obviously, consider the, look, I am not surprised at all.
Drive east, then in 300 feet, turn right. Drive west, then in 200 feet, turn left onto Dallas Needle Road.
Why what we do isn't more popular. So, clearly at this point, he is seeing the polls, he's losing, and he has, of course, like any good autocrat, wants to make it harder to vote.
One thing that you've written about a lot in the New York Times is the Epstein stuff.
Turn right onto Ridge Road.
Standout in that is that you talk about how the elites are using Epstein as a way to just have access to anything and everything.
Continue for 2 miles.
Deals, underage girls, etc. Will you tell my listeners about your piece that you wrote in the New York Times?
Yeah, so, I've written about this a lot, and I've written about it for any number of reasons, mostly because it's the largest sex trafficking scandal in American history. And actually this weekend on my podcast, I had Maria Farmer, and Maria Farmer was the first person to come out and try to get some justice, try to stop Jeffrey Epstein. She went to the New York Police Department, and she also went to the FBI, and she was at the time 26, and she had been held hostage in Ohio at the estate of Les Wexner, and her sister had been sexually molested by Epstein and his whole crew, though she would not. Some of that came out later, and she did in fact go to the authorities, and they ignored her. And one of the things that we saw in this dump of documents was that actually there was proof that she had gone, that those statements were in the dump of documents. And Maria and Annie Farmer, these sisters, they were the ones who went to Vanity Fair to try to get their story told by Vicky Ward way back in the 90s. And she talks about how in fact, I had met Danny Belsky, who's another really great survivor, who speaks so well about the crimes that Epstein has perpetrated on these girls. And she talked about how she wasn't abused till the 2000s. So if the FBI had paid
In a quarter mile, enter the roundabout and take the second exit onto Ridge Road.
These girls would not have had their lives just completely destroyed.
So you said that she was held hostage at
Enter the roundabout and take the second exit onto Ridge Road.
Victoria's Secret guy?
Yeah, I mean, their stories are the things that these women went through, and I think it's really
Exit the roundabout onto Ridge Road.
There's a lot of stuff online now, like
Continue for 2 miles.
cannibalism. I don't think there really was cannibalism. I think that
There really
what
was.
happened in itself is such a scandal. I mean, this is the largest
Come on.
sex trafficking operation in American history. It went on during the Biden administration, both Trump administrations went on during, well, it didn't, the second one, no, because he was already in jail in 2019, but there's still been a cover up in this admin. It's just, these women have been failed by Biden, Trump, Clinton, and Bush. I mean, they just have been, and it's been
offering his assistance in rebuilding the Holy Temple on the Temple Mount and establishing the Jewish kingdom over all of mankind in Jerusalem.
So maybe I'm getting this wrong, but if I speak English, I'm pretty sure that he just said the Jews are going to rule the world, and America can come and bow at our feet and beg for supremacy, and maybe we'll be kind and give it to them. Conspiracy theories are entering a
In a half mile.
That's the way they
turn left
do.
onto Seals Road.
And the people that get narcissism. It's ugly.
We'll get into the Tucker report in a minute. But first, let's pop in to the conflict map and do a little catch up. Because the war is heating up and it's not going very well.
Turn left onto Seals Road.
It's very complicated to track. So you kind of need a lot of time on your hands or some good aggregators of information,
Continue for a half mile.
the propaganda and the narratives and all that. There are a lot of good journalists out there. There's a lot of great coverage, a lot of independent journalists and open source investigators that are sort of parsing through the censorship and the propaganda and all of that. And rather than starting on the map, let's start with an overview and then do some kind of journalistic. Let's pop through a bunch of journalism that I already have open, and then we'll come back and see if there's anything new on the map. It's worth noting that the U.S. approved
In a quarter mile, turn left onto Benson Meadows Drive.
a whole bunch of new bombs, 12,000 BLU 110A and B 1,000 bomb bodies, along with engineering, logistics, and tactical support, sold to Israel.
Turn left onto Benson Meadows Drive.
Got to keep the war machine churning so that all of the
In 900 feet, turn left onto Sarah Court.
so that Israel can keep on bombing everybody. We're going to get into the desalination plant strikes quite a bit today, I suspect. The U.S. struck
Turn left onto Sarah Court. Then OC Detail, 18 Sarah Court, Dallas, Georgia 30157. USA will be on the right.
desalination plants for their
OC
water.
Detail, 18 Sarah Court, Dallas, Georgia 30157. USA is on the right.
Military targets to overtly civilian targets that will inherently
36.
kill probably thousands of people. And it's a dangerous escalation, as we're going to discuss, because the allied countries are far more vulnerable to this form of attack than
All right,
Iran
gotcha.
is.
Yes, sir.
Bahrain is nearly 100% reliant on desalination water. Qatar, heavily reliant. UAE, heavily reliant. Saudi Arabia, heavily reliant on desalination. Israel is also quite reliant on desalination plants. And so we've already seen how the Allied interceptor stockpile has been greatly degraded, and interceptions are way down. So Iran is hitting way more targets now, and it has all drones that can destroy things like desalination plants, and all of the allied Middle Eastern nations' desalination infrastructure is just wide open if Iran wants to retaliate in kind. And so by opening the door to hitting water facilities, the US and Israel have just sort of laid their allies wide the fuck open to some really horrendous retaliation if Iran chooses to do so. And we've already seen, I believe, the beginnings of them doing so. Sayed, the Iranian foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, condemned the
I need a
strike,
code.
saying the U.S. committed a blatant and desperate crime by attacking a freshwater desalination plant on Keshem Island. Water supply in 30 villages has been impacted. Attacking Iran's infrastructure is a dangerous
God bless
move
y'all
with
again.
grave
See you later.
consequences. The U.S. set this precedent, not Iran. And yeah, remember that. Remember that when the Israeli propaganda comes out, that we set this precedent. Our
Excuse me.
most moral militaries in the world set the precedent of attacking civilian water infrastructure. And what, to me, from my outside non-expert look, appears to be sort of like a little brother move of like, man, we're not winning, like, then we'll fucking kick over your water glass. It's like, bitch, your water is wide open to attack. It's feeling a little short-sighted to me, but hey, who am I? I'm just some random motherfucker that doesn't know what's going on. And then there's a bunch of reporting on President Trump attending the ceremony for the return of the 6 killed U.S. service members. There's also a lot of rumbling about more dead U.S. service members that might be getting covered up. There might be some fudging of numbers going on. I think there's definitely fudging of Israeli numbers. But it's starting to look more and more like there are U.S. service member deaths that are not being reported. It's looking like there's a lot of things that are not being reported. Go figure. So we'll dig a little bit into that today. And the big one to watch is that a U.S.-Israeli strike hit Iran's oil infrastructure and lit it the fuck up. They hit a refinery, I believe. And again, an escalation that is pretty brazen and brave given how exposed all the Middle Eastern allied nations oil infrastructure is.
I'm gonna go.
Sure, you can hurt Iran this way, but how much do you hurt yourself? Because there's no defenses for Saudi Arabia's oil infrastructure, Qatar's gas infrastructure. All of these Middle Eastern nations are wide open, and they do not have the interceptor stockpiles to protect all that oil infrastructure, as well as all the military bases, as well as all the ships, etc. So I do not understand what we're doing here. The countries that rely on the oil from the Middle East, I mean, basically the entire world relies on the oil from the Middle East, and it's going to affect the entire global stock market, the entire global energy market. But more directly, it's going to affect our allied nations in the Gulf. There's a lot of reporting this morning of blackened skies and acid rain over Iran, and we'll get into some of that. The fallout from these fires and from strikes on their oil infrastructure. But between the attacks on the oil infrastructure and the attacks on the water infrastructure, the escalation is pretty dramatic and pretty overt. And it's not entirely clear what the everything is being monitored by Chinese institutions back to down he's actually the person on the ground in Iran. And so I'm kind of trying to keep tabs on this guy to figure out what the fuck they're doing. Right? So we're not necessarily watching to take his coverage as it is, but we are, at least I, am watching his coverage to try to figure out what the coverage means. Why is the coverage happening? What's going on here? Is it politically motivated? Is it real journalism? Is it narrative building?
Very thick black clouds. You can see that. That's the west of the city over there, and this is the north of the city. Normally, if you look to that direction, you could actually see the Alborz Mountains, but now all of that is also covered in clouds. That comes after major airstrikes in the south and the west of the city happened last night, where oil installations were hit, oil storage facilities.
I don't really understand the, it just doesn't really make sense in my little pea brain how like American journalism flies an American citizen into Iran, enemy in the war, where where the U.S. and Israel are just like recklessly fucking bombing, like carpet bombing whole sections of the city with really no warning and no, at least like no warning the public is getting. Maybe he's getting warnings. It just seems like we're asking for CNN boy to get bombed by Israel, right? It's weird. And yeah, I know you can't hear very well. It's as loud as it's a quiet video. It's as loud as it can get. It is what it is. He's just pointing out how cloudy the skies are from the refinery fire.
You can see this morning that the sky is still very dark. We saw thick black plumes of smoke in the sky yesterday.
So he's just doing a little update, but it's just interesting to follow his situation and be like, who is this guy and what the fuck is up with this, and what's the story here around the story they're narrating. Claude pissed you off the other night after a trip on shrooms. It kept trying to force me to listen to a specific playlist, and I kept trying to tell it to stop, and it got pissy. Lol. Yeah, so Claude Regular is pretty fucking retarded. You need to learn to build a personal AI infrastructure on top of it, a harness, if you will. We can talk more about that on another stream, but learning how to build your AI into an agent that learns and has memory is a game changer. And if you don't take that step, your AI is dumb as shit. But that was a funny fucking message, bro. We'll get into the AI stuff another day. But your boy is fucking cooking in it. I figure that is, learn or die, basically. If they're gonna kill us all with it, I better figure out how it's working. There's a lot of reporting coming out of accounts that are that will be new to us, that you always want to double check. IQ 312, Dr. Ji-Hoon Park. He's the smartest guy in the world, right? World's highest IQ, 312 holder, collective intelligence funds. And then he's so fucking smart that he uses this as his banner. BTC, Sol, ETH, to the moon. It's like, I don't know, bro. Maybe you should put Poopcoin on there too, bro. Maybe you should put Poopcoin on there. If you were really high IQ, you would have Fartcoin and Poopcoin to the moon, bro. So, maybe his analysis is awesome. I don't know. The emojis make me think that his analysis is probably AI generated. So, be careful what you read out there. Might be awesome. I don't know. Oh, hey, another fucking Asian account bragging about their IQ, posting the exact same style of AI analysis with the emojis, the same emojis. Interesting. Oh, also shilling Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, Solana. Man, all these guys are so high IQ that they fucking don't even know about Poopcoin and Fartcoin. Get with it. Get with it, you effing retards. High IQ retards is right, dude. Come on, you don't even hold any GameStop shares, and you're trying to tell me that you're high? This is a high IQ outfit? I will be referring you to Baron Coleman for review. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Can't help but notice that we got all these high IQ Asians reporting on the China situation. Worth noting.